Buckle up and sit tight, rugby fans. It's about to get hot and heavy here on Cornflake's Crib as we're looking forward to the big one, the Rugby Championship. The battle for Southern Hemisphere supremacy is getting underway this weekend. It's going to be huge. New Zealand, Argentina open things up, and then it is Australia up against South Africa for match number 2. I'm here, I'm going to preview these matches with you guys who I'm expecting to see what you all think is going to happen this weekend. We have 2 massive matches. We're going to have a look at the starting lineups for these 2 matches, these 4 teams, whatever way you want to put it, and look ahead for what they're really looking to gain here. What's the goal? What these sides are looking to achieve in this opening round of the Rugby Championship. So thanks for joining me here, and I hope you'll enjoy this video with a look ahead at the Rugby Championship. If you're enjoying these discussions, give it a thumbs up, and I'll be sure to bring many, many more in the near future. So let's get stuck straight in. Let's not dilly-dally around. It is match 1 of the Rugby Championship. It is the All Blacks up against Argentina, AMI Stadium on a Friday night, which I'm not complaining. That's quite good. I'm looking forward to a Friday night game. Haven't had one for a while with the Super Rugby closing out Friday night games quite a number of weeks ago. But the All Blacks have named their team. Of course, the Australians are what held this up. We'll put that in before we carry on. I was ready to do this yesterday after the other 3 sides named their squads on yesterday, which was Wednesday. I was ready to go, do a little preview, have a look at the squads, have a look at the starting lineups, but no, Australia had to hold the line, didn't they? The bloody Wallabies didn't release their squad till today, so here we go. A bit late, I'm a bit annoyed, but that's alright, we'll get into it. The All Blacks, Argentina. Let's have a look at the home team, the All Blacks at AMI Stadium, and there's one thing big about this team, that there's no surprises happened, but it's great, and it's a good look towards the future for where the All Blacks are going to go for the incoming years as well, possibly with Waisake Naholo starting on the right wing. Now, this is his first international fixture. He didn't play against Samoa. He's taken the place of George Moala, who did play that match. Moala is gone. He's off to play the Maoris and Barbarian match, so that's not so bad. But Naholo, he's in. Big match, big opportunity for Waisake Naholo. Of course, a Fijian-born player, but he's got those Fijian attributes, doesn't he? The pace, the power, the step, the elusiveness, the ability to break tackles and to get away. He is going to, well, he's going to be a huge prospect. Can he step up? That's a big question for my side of things. Is he good enough for international rugby? We will find out if he can carve up against Argentina. You know, that number 14 jumper could very well be his, because we know Corey Jane, a great player in the past. I'm a big fan of Corey Jane. I really do like Corey Jane. He broke the mold of this dominating, big, fast, strong winger. He was the old school. He was the fast. He was the snappy. You know, he was the hard guy to catch. He was just slimy. You know, he's hard to get hold of, hard to get a grip on. He was, yeah, that was what wingers used to be like, and he was a throwback to that, and it was good to see. It was good to have that balance between him and Savia, but I feel Jane has fallen off the pace. He's struggles to keep up with international rugby these days, and that's, you know, injury as well has been huge for him in the last couple of years. So he is back, though. He's playing in the Māori Barbarians match as well as a couple of other All Black players, Karaballo, Joe Moody. They are down for that match as well. But let's go back to Argentina, where we all started. So Naholo on debut. I know everyone loves the way I say debut, but whatever. On debut, his first match, and amazingly enough, with him, 0 caps, of course, it is still the most capped All Black squad in history. How does that even happen? A man on 0 in the back line still got 920 caps. How about that? Beats the record of 868, which was set against Samoa and Apia last week. 920. They're going to break 1,000, you know. There's going to be a match this year, surely, where the All Blacks can cap 1,000 caps. Surely they'll want to do that as a bit of a, you know, a stat that they're not interested in. but they'll want to break anyway. Surely with these experience is just huge. So let's have a look at this team. We've started already with the big one, which is Naholo. Another big one for me, which I'm kind of disappointed about, but I can still understand, is at the back. Israel Dag at fullback. If you've been watching these discussions, you'll know that I'm no Israel Dag fan. He was okay years and years ago, when he first broke out, 2011, when he burst onto the scene and he dislodged Mils Muliaina as number one fullback for the All Blacks. He was good then. He was elusive. He was a good player, but he's really gone downhill. He hasn't played at all, hardly this season. He looked like nothing. He was nowhere to be found against Samoa. And he's starting here against Argentina, which makes me go, not again, Israel Dag. You know, when are they going to just chop the last little bit of him away? But I can understand, on the other hand, we all know what Ben Smith can do. And in my opinion, and I'm hoping in the All Black Selector's opinion as well, Ben Smith is number one fullback. Come South Africa, Australia, big matches, Ben Smith will be there in 15. Israel Dag, this really has to be last chance saloon right now. This weekend, tomorrow night, Friday night, whatever day you're watching this, Friday night, Israel Dag has to perform. He's got to play better than he did against Fiji. So that is Israel Dag. I'm not going to beat on too much about him because, you know, he's got nothing. He's had nothing to really talk about. He's been disappointing, and he's got to step it up. Last chance. I said it last time as well against Samoa. He had to step it up. He failed to do it. This is it. This is it. I can't give him another chance against Australia or South Africa. No way. So we've already talked about Waisaki Naholo starting on the right wing. On the other side, we have Charles Piutau. Again, he's another player. He's kind of in the Israel Dag fold. Not really that he's lost his way. He's just horribly out of form. And is that a contribution from his time at the Blues, or is that just he's just having such a bad time? Probably a combination of both, in my opinion. But Piutau has the ability to be a good player. Once again, I can see possibly in a future match, you know, that'll be when Nehemiah Scudder will slot in as well. Got to give him a chance in this rugby championship. You know, Piutau, this is a bit of a last chance for him too. If he doesn't perform here and he does go to the World Cup, then all he's going to see is game time against, you know, Namibia and the likes. You know, he's not going to see quarterfinal rugby unless there is absolute injury crisis. Got to be a chance for Milner Scudder later on. And Naholo, you know, he's the money man at the moment. So for Piutau, he's in the Dag boat, and he's got to pull one out as well. We go to the midfield. Now, this is an interesting thing for me for this All Black squad. Midfield combining Sonny Bill Williams at 12, Ma'anono at 13. This is going to be massive. Two players who normally compete for the number 12 jumper at inside centre. They are going to be playing together. Now, these two really do bring the best out of each other, so it's going to be huge as to whether they can perform together. Is Ma'anono going to fit into the 13? Is Sonny Bill Williams going to find some form? Because like a lot of you guys have suggested as well, he's in horrible form. He's in dreadful form. And so Sonny Bill's got a big task to do. He's got his old mate and big rival Ma'anono outside him. Big chance for those two. As we know, Conrad Smith is really the go-to man in the centre pairing. Will we see this ever again? I doubt it. But Sonny Bill and Ma'anono, it's a good chance for Sonny Bill to get some time out there. We move into the halves, and we've got Dan Carter at fly half or first five, depending on your country. And hasn't he come along nicely? Daniel Carter, come good at the end of Super Rugby, and he's just continued that rise up. He was good against Samoa, and if he continues his good form, he's just going to get better and better, which is good news because the All Blacks are lacking in depth behind what they have in the squad now of first fives or fly halves, number 10s. Let's call them number 10s. If Carter goes down now, you've got Barrett and Sopawanga. Sure, yeah, they're okay. I'll be happy if those two go to the World Cup. But where's your three? Colin Slade, is he going to last the World Cup campaign? Not sure. Then after that, you really dig in the barrel after that, and we have to go to some desperate decisions about who's coming in next. Tom Taylor, an option. He's playing for the Barbarians as well. So, you know, we really need Carter to stay fit and stay on the field. Perenara inside him, you know, how good's TJ Perenara? We all know Aaron Smith is one of the greatest players in the world at the moment, and he is number one choice. But this is a good chance for TJ Perenara. He's a good player, and clear-cut number 2, number 9, in the country of New Zealand, that's for sure. We move on to the back row, and this almost two-thirds picks itself. Kieran Reid, Richie McCaw, 8 and 7. But Jerome Kaino at 6. He's in a real battle. I think Liam Messer might have the nudge on him just, but overall, I just don't know which of those two they're going to pull for number 1. Kaino could dislodge this. If he plays good enough, he could take that number 6 jersey to his own, but I think Messer might have the nudge on him just at this stage. Romano gets another shot in the second row. He'll partner this time Retallick, which is going to be interesting because Romano, again, he's the guy that they're trying to bring up to speed with the rest of the squad. Of course, Whitelock and Retallick, they're the number ones, they're the go-to players, but this is nice rotation, a settled player with someone who's coming in to learn the mould. It's building good squad depth. Is it going too far with squad rotation? You tell me. What do you think? Is it too much squad rotation at this stage? Franks, Mealamu and Woodcock, 3-2-1. The old heads, you know, they need some rugby. They need some form. I can't see Mealamu being number 1 hooker. He's in there to build himself up as a backup off the bench. Dane Cole's number 1 all the way. Woodcock, yeah, well, I'm not sure about Tony Woodcock. He's been a bit off the money for a few years now. He had the glory days of the 2011 World Cup final. He scored the only try, only the second prop to score a try in a World Cup final. But does he have that standard now? The All Blacks scrum is by no means dominant, which is what we'll get into later on with Argentina. But the All Blacks and Woodcock, you know, is it time for, you know, the likes of Crockett and Franks to be the frontline scrummagers in this All Blacks pack? But that's the All Blacks. I've gone on about them enough. Of course, that is my area of speciality, being from New Zealand. I know these guys a lot, so I have plenty to say about them. But it is their opponents for today, or for tomorrow, I should say, that are going to be an interesting thing. Argentina, I have a lot of respect for this Argentinian side. They only have themselves to give credit to and how they have improved over the last few seasons. There's no question about that, and I love the way that they really use their strengths as well. Their front row, it's great to see players like Marcos Iherza. He is good, the loose head prop. He is good. He's getting up to that stage where he is a world-class front row alongside Creevy, the captain, and Herrera will be on the tight head side. That is a good front row, and Argentina know they have a good front row. In the second row, Carriza comes back in. Now, that's the first time he's been in the Argentinian test side since 2014 and against Scotland, and we also have more debuts in the rest of the squad as well. But 12 changes from the side that played out against the French Barbarians. Only 3 players remain from that team. That's Petty, and he is the second row alongside Issa, the number 8, and Delafonte in the centres, retaining their spots from that victory against the French Barbarians. This is going to be a good test for Argentina, doing a similar thing to the All Blacks as well, testing out the depth of their squad. Do they have enough depth to go into a World Cup campaign? And it's good. They've got a lot of youth that they've been testing out for a good year or so now. I've noticed a lot of these players have been mingling around this 15 for Argentina for quite some time now, and it's good to see them building a squad, and that's what the top class nations need to do, and Argentina is putting themselves in a situation where they can almost be called a top 10 nation. Their second row, as I said, Carriza and Petty coming in together. A new man, of course, it's going to be his first rugby championship match for Petty, and a long-awaited return for Carriza. In the back row, I should say, this is where experience comes so big. Leguizamon and Fernandez Lobby, these two are just huge. These are massive. These are 2 men who will guide and control and demand the best out of Argentina. These guys are the backbone of the Pumas. Let's put it that way. Lack of a better word, but they are really what Argentina is all about, and it is superb to see them playing there together. Of course, Senatore is out, the number 8, so he won't be here for this match. It'll be Issa coming in. This will be his first rugby championship match as well, so another new player who's only been around the scene for a year or so. coming in number 8, but what support he has from Guzman and Fernandez Lobby. It is great to see those two together, and I feel that could be a real good combination. If they get Senatore back, it'll be huge. That back row will be very, very strong and very, very competitive with the best in the world as well. We move to the Argentinian backline, where this is probably where they'll find the problems. The forward pack we know now. We've seen it enough times from Argentina. We know their forward pack can compete with the world's best. We've seen them topple the Wallabies, of course. They've pushed South Africa to a draw, and they've even pushed the All Blacks a good portion, into the late minutes of the match. So we know how much these guys can perform. Can their backs get up to the standard? Interesting point straight off the whistle for Argentina is their number 9, scrum half-back. They have gone for Kubeli. Now, this is interesting because normally they start with Landajo and then they go for the impact of the nippiness of Kubeli off the bench. But this time they've opted to start. I think Landajo's probably a bit unlucky. He's been brilliant over the last couple of years for Argentina. But again, they'll be building this squad around for a Rugby World Cup. Kubeli's a good player. He's a worthy test starter as well. So they're not going to lose anything by having Kubeli. He's just a different sort of player to what Landajo is. So it's good to see Kubeli getting the start, and I'll be interested specifically on him as to how he goes against Perenara. That'll be big. 2 different players. I think Landajo is more of a Perenara player. Kubeli is more of an Aaron Smith kind of mould player, if you can make that comparison in any way at all. Into the rest of the back line, Sanchez will be starting at 10 now. He's become a mainstay in the number 10 jumper, and they don't have a huge amount backing up behind Sanchez either. So could be a big problem if he has anything go wrong, a big injury or something. He's been pretty reliable recently, so you have to question whether that will even happen. But Sanchez, he's not world class, but he is definitely up there, getting better with every day in an Argentinian jumper. He is going to be someone that needs to step up if they're going to have a good year this year, Sanchez. He could be a big game player for the rest of the season. Into the centres, we mentioned already De La Fonte and Marcelo Bosch. They will be in the centre pairing. Now, De La Fonte, he's been around Argentina for a while, and he's put in some good performances as well. Really a strong running player, and he's put some good performances forward in that centre pairing. Bosch has been around forever. He's another man. There's got a lot of centres and wingers who have come in and out of this team. We see some in the bench as well. With Amorosino, he's one that can cover a lot of positions. Bosch is a good player. He's a seasoned player, and he will be solid for Argentina. He's not going to really be that commanding player that we might expect from someone like a Conrad Smith that will control the game. Bosch he's a game breaker. Like a lot of Argentinian backs are, we look to the wingers with Aguja and Santiago. I think Santiago is going to be a good explosive fast player, a good winger. He's in for his first rugby championship match as well. So I'm interested to see how he goes for the Argentinian side of things on the left wing. Aguja, we know how good Aguja is, and Tucalet. I like this little guy, Jacqueline Tucalet, the fullback for Argentina. He's a good little player, and I've seen a bit of him. He's good. He's very good on attack, counter-attack. He's fairly safe at the back as well. They've picked him, they've gone with him, and they've stuck with him, which I like. They've noticed his abilities, and they've really hammered him home in the number 15 jumper, which is only going to do good things for this young fullback for Argentina. That is their lineup. They have a good mixture on the bench as well of players who they've had throughout the years, and new players coming in as well, which is good. Some experience in there on their bench, some players who could think themselves unlucky to not be starting, but this is a good mixture from Argentina. I'm expecting them to go well. Argentina is definitely on the rise. I think the All Blacks will win this one. Should be fairly easy, but I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be a blowout by any means. I'll pick the All Blacks by 12. I think they'll pick it up a bit from what they did against Samoa. Argentina will run them hard, possibly even lead throughout the match, close at half-time. A couple of points either side could go at the break. But then the All Blacks, like we've seen time and time again, should power away after the hour mark and win it by 10 to 12 points. I'm picking a good knock from Argentina, just not enough in the tank to go the full distance in the end. So there's match 1 of the Rugby Championship. New Zealand should get the win over the Argentinians. So that's one big part straight off the whistle done for this match. Now, we have a huge second match coming right up. It is the Wallabies at home up against the Springboks. This is the big one. New Zealand-Argentina is going to be a great match. I think Argentina is going to show that they're coming along, but I think this is going to be the huge one. Australia and South Africa. We've seen this. These guys just go at each other all night long. So the Wallabies delaying their squad just about seems as long as possible. But they have named their 15, and I'm pretty happy with what they've gone with as well. I've kind of thought this is how they're going to go. There's a couple of things I'm disappointed they haven't tried, but I can kind of see where they've come from with what they've gone at this side. So let's have a look from the back. We've got Israel Folau, which is almost a no-brainer these days in a Wallabies jumper. Who else is going to play fullback? If Israel Folau went down, there's going to be some definite matchup problems there, trying to find someone who could adequately fill that role. Of course, they've definitely got the players to go there, but Folau has owned that jumper since he moved to Union. The wingers, this is where I'm a bit disappointed in Australia. They've gone with Adam Ashley Cooper and Rob Horne. I know they are the players who have performed well recently. They're the players who have, the incumbents, if you will. Rob Horne's a fantastic player, extremely underrated by people outside of Australia, and Adam Ashley Cooper as well. He's an iconic Australian. But Drew Mitchell on the bench, I know Spate is still suspended from memory from that Super Rugby match where he got suspended, so that's probably why he's not there. But they haven't gone with any of the others. Like Tamani's not there at all, neither is Naivaro, not even in the bench. I would like to see those guys out there, those big wingers. We know what Adam Ashley Cooper can do. We know what Rob Horne can do. The other sides are picking, a bit of a bolter, a bit of a tester. We haven't seen anything from the Wallabies, and this is where they become the unknown. But they've picked a side which is relatively, especially in that back three, we know what they can do. Kurandrani as well. Isn't he just the player that just keeps on giving? He's just consistent. He is a fantastic outside centre that is often just forgotten about, and he just does his thing and gets the job done. He's a good player, Kurandrani, and that's all you can really say about him. Now, this is where I'm happy. Matt Giteau had to get the run. He's at 12. I'm happy to see him there at 12 as well. I think he could be a long-term option, especially for this year of World Cup Rugby. He's been fantastic over in France, and we know France is a very good level of rugby. I know a lot of you who are French rugby fans will know that France is a good high level of rugby, and I don't think he's going to be missing much coming to international rugby. But the Springboks are a tough opposition. Let's be fair, it's going to be a step up of some sorts, but he should be in the match ready that he needs to be for this game. Giteau's a fantastic player, and he will adapt, no doubt. Quade Cooper's at 10. What do you think about that? Quade Cooper at 10. No room for Foley, no room for Tumua in there at all, although Tumua is on the bench. But I like this. Quade Cooper and Matt Giteau, two really good playmakers. They are that. They're playmakers. They're going to make something happen. They're not going to sit around and just do the standard. They're not going to be consistently solid like Foley. He does nothing horribly wrong, although he has been in horrific form lately, but he just consistently gets the job done. I like this. I like this adventure from Australia to get out there and hammer home the advantage of having two really good playmakers at 10 and 12. That is good. Will Guinea inside. I guess it's that Guinea-Cooper combination, hoping to draw the good out of Will Guinea. He's only 27, I think, from what I read earlier, which is just amazing. He's got another World Cup in him, this man. He could go and be an Australian great, but his form of late has been woeful as well, and I do hope for Australia's sake and for Guinea, who's a good player, he does draw something from having these fantastic players outside him, and he could come into some good. Inside those guys, the forward pack, we have Higginbotham as number 8. Now, this is going to be a big thing for them because he is in the form of his life, and their back row is fairly good as well. Higginbotham and Hooper, two top-shelf quality players, and they'll be looking to put their dominance in there, and their strengths. Higginbotham, strong man, a strong runner. He's a dominant figure, and he'll be a key player to how this forward pack really performs, because this is where the test is going to be. It's going to be between the forward pack of Australia, the forward pack of South Africa, and that is where the game will be won and lost, in my opinion. Hooper's there at 7. It's hard to go past Hooper. Scott Fardy will be at 6. Could have possibly mixed that up, but I think it's a good chance for Fardy to players trade there. Will Skelton, Rob Simmons, good options in the second row to see how those two go together. Rob Simmons, he has to lift his game. Haven't seen much from him recently. Kepu, Moore and Slipper, a solid front row, but we haven't seen much of this Australian side, and it's how are we going to see? What are we going to see from Kepu, Moore, Slipper, Simmons and Skelton? How are they going to match up against what South Africa have brought to the table? That's going to be the big part for mine. On the bench, they have Pulana now, CO, Holmes, Horwell, Pocock, Phibbs, Tamua and Mitchell. But the forward pack, that's where it all starts and stops. Moore, it's great to see him back. Slipper and Kepu, they are, the incumbents again for the Australian front row. Will it match up with the Springboks? That's going to be the big test, because these guys have got a big lot of work to do. Skelton, we haven't seen the best of a lot of these guys, and it is an unknown quantity of what this team, as a team, can put together. That is from the Wallabies. So we go to the rest of the match. It is the South Africans, and goodness me, this team, well, we've seen them against the World 15 not too long ago. Last weekend, South Africa, we know that they're forward dominating. We know that they're going to be strong. We know that they're going to dominate into this match, and that is where the game will be won and lost. If South Africa can dominate over the Australian forward pack, that is what this game's going to be interesting about. We know the ability of the players. We know how they perform individually at Super Rugby level, but this is a different whole level. So let's have a look at the South African 15. We'll start off, as we've gone the different way all this video, we'll start off at the front this time, and we'll have him Tawera, Du Plessis, Bismarck and Yanni. What a front row. I'd love that front row here in New Zealand. I like the Du Plessis. They are quality players. I really do like Bismarck and Yanni. And Tawera, great player as well. I really do like this front row from South Africa. I think, in my opinion, it is one of the best front rows in world rugby, and I think it is going to run over the top of Australia. In the second row, Etzebeth and Matfield. Eben Etzebeth is just an absolute prodigy. He is fantastic for his age. He is going to be in the legend book for the Springboks for years to come. Victor Matfield, he's already there. So he captains the side from the second row, and that is a brilliant tight five. I'm sorry, Australia, but that is a world-class tight five, and you're going to have to bring your A game to even touch these guys. But you have the home advantage, which we know South Africa do not like playing outside of South Africa. So it's going to be a level of that, I think. Can South Africa adapt to playing in Australia? That's going to be the big call. The back row, Lowe, Kutsia, Burger. Burger. I love seeing Schalkberger back in a Springbok jumper. That is awesome news to see him back there. He is a fantastic player. And how is he going to add almost 3 number 7s in that back row? We know Francois Lowe plays at 7 quite a lot. Schalkberger definitely has played at 7 a huge amount. How is this going to work against Australia? Australia have Higginbotham and they have Fardy at 6 and 8, or the other way, 8 and 6 respectively. And how are they going to combat the rucking and the breakdown hits from the likes of 3 number 7s like Burger, Kutsia and Lowe? I love this. This South African side has me excited. And, I'm New Zealander, but I really like South African rugby. I feel they do underperform in certain aspects of their game. It's overseas especially, but when countries go to South Africa, it's a whole different story. But South Africa, I love their adventurism, how they try things, and they just have such big, aggressive players. It's great. I love that back row, and I am very interested to see how it goes against the Wallabies, who have a whole different build to that back row. Into the backs now, as we try and wrap this up for too long of rambling on. Goodness me, talk your mouth off. Ruan Pienaar will start at scrum half, and he is the number one, isn't he? Faf de Klerk is in the squad as well, and of course Renark's in there as well, but neither of them are to the level of Pienaar. So he's going to be a big part of how these Springboks play, especially in the backs. Pollard will start at 10. The young sensation, I do very much like Henry Pollard. Brian Habana, the legend, on the left wing. Damon Deallendy and Jesse Krill. Now these two are interesting. I know Deallendy can definitely hack it at this level, and they're just warming the seat, aren't they, for the captain, Jean de Villiers, to come back, which we seen him last weekend against the World 15, which is so good to see him back, because if he's fit for Rugby World Cup and he plays the whole tournament, I'd pick South Africa to go extremely well. If he's not fit, I think they might just not do anywhere near as well as they possibly could. Nothing against Deallendy. He's a superb player, and he's gone very good, strength to strength over the last few years, but he's just not the mould. He's not the class of Jean de Villiers, who is just an absolute legend. One of the best all-round rugby people going around the rugby globe at the moment. So Deallendy and Krill, it'll be interesting to see how those two go. JP Peterson on the right wing. A chance for him to get back into the side. Of course, they have Mvovo on the bench as well, so interesting to see how soon he gets on and who he comes on for as well. I think that will depend on the situation of the match and who's really pushing forward. Willie Leroux at the back, which is great. Willie Leroux, super player. He's fallen off the planet a bit in the last season or so. He was up there, world's best fullback, but he's kind of fallen off his throne a bit, and I would love to see him get back into those dizzy heights that Willie Leroux was at in the past. He'll be a huge part of their counter-attack in their back three with JP Peterson and Brian Habana. I think Peterson is his last chance for really to him to get back in there. Of course, there's Hendricks as well, which I'm surprised he's not in the team, but a very good South African 15. Strauss, Van der Merwe, Mahalabi, De Jager, Mahoje, Renark, Lambie and Mvovo on the bench. A good bench too from the Springboks. To bring on Adrian Strauss, for Bismarck du Plessis, goodness me. It's an embarrassment of riches for the Springboks, and they need results. They need to back up this fantastic side and get a result against Australia. I'm picking the Springboks by 8 over Australia. I like the South African team. I really do like it. I like their back row. I like their front row as well. The second row, I'm a big fan of Etzebeth. Pollard, I hope that guy goes fantastically, has a huge career as well. I really do like this whole team. Plenty of good players in there, plenty of interesting points for the Springboks as well. They've gone also with the trial thing to see how things will work out. The Wallabies have probably been the least experimental side because they just haven't had anything to balance against, haven't anything to test against, so everything is new for them. They've probably stuck a bit too safe for my liking. I would have liked to have seen some new players in there, but then again they are playing South Africa, which is a massive test, which is a huge test for them, so they need to be right up there and play their best rugby. I like the South African side, and if you've watched previous discussion videos I've done about Rugby World Cup, you'll know that I'm picking them to be my winner from the head of the Rugby World Cup. The heart is obviously with the All Blacks, but I really like the South African team, and if they can get Jean de Villiers back in that centre partnership, it just gets better and better for the Springboks. But that is a little review. I've gone on very too long, as always, rambling away for far too long. Goodness me, have some control over your voice, you lunatic. But there we go. All Blacks, South Africa, to be winners for Rugby Championship Round 1. I'll be back again after this weekend's matches. Sunday, Monday, all going well. You should be seeing in your feed if you're subscribed, so you better get and hit that subscribe button. A review of these matches and see how wrong I could possibly be. But I'm interested in these talking points, especially South Africa and New Zealand, and to see how this safe Australian side goes and this just ever-improving Argentinian side. It's a great weekend of rugby. Can't wait to get it underway. Rugby Championship. It's another step towards the World Cup let's get it underway. Let me know what your results, predictions are as well in the comments, and I will see you after the weekend of rugby. Enjoy your weekend. Get out there and enjoy the rugby. And, of course, let me know your own opinions, because that is what discussion is all about. I love having a chat with you guys. I very much encourage to have discussions coming back and forth. We've had some great discussions in the comments recently, so keep it coming. Love the banter, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, take care.